We knew that news of our trouble would soon reach the enemy, so gun crews were at stations for all available weapons.
About the same way, we went back to Pearl Harbor, and then we went to Ulithi and tied up there. And I remember there were ships as far as you could see, both directions. There was probably over 300 ships anchored there. And there's other pictures of it, I'm sure, around somewhere, but it was quite a sight. And then we went into, from there we joined a task force and went up to, that's when they were bombing Okinawa. And the main force was there. There was a lot of ships with us. And I'm thinking there's two big carriers and 2 jeep carriers, and maybe 2 cruisers and a lot of destroyers, or I don't know how many. Anyway, we went up there, and we bombed Kyushu and Honshu on the morning of March 18th, well, all day. And we're at general quarters all day and all night. And I think we'd been on general quarters, well, many hours, I don't know exactly how many, but when it come time to go to breakfast, there was 3 of us working in the forward pump room, gasoline pump room, which is 9 decks down, you know, the control room. And the other 2 guys went to lunch, both of them went to breakfast, both of them were killed. And I was laying there asleep with the headphones on. That's the reason I stayed, because I hadn't had much sleep. You know, let the other 2 guys go. And and that's when the first bomb went off. And I couldn't get out of there for a long time. I don't know how many hours it was, but it was a long time before I could get out and see anything. But when we got hit, there was, that time, we had a whole, I don't know how many airplanes we had in the air, but we had a lot on the deck. It was loaded with rockets, bombs, gasoline, torpedoes, everything you can think of. And they all burnt and blew up. I think there's somewhere around 30 planes that did that. And we were the first carrier that had launched that Tiny Tim rocket into action. And then Department of Navy or whoever had sent a bunch of photographers out to, you know, click these pictures and see what damage it was doing, see if they wanted to continue with the manufacture of them or switch to something else. And that's where they got all these good pictures. So they were actually, they did take, you know, they were taken from, it wasn't a movie, it was real pictures. Of course, I could hear these bombs going off, and it was hot in there. And I knew we were in big trouble, but pretty soon we started listing. We ended up at a 13-degree starboard list. And with that kind of list, you can't walk across this floor like this, a deck. You have to put 1 foot on the bulkhead and 1 on the deck, you know, so otherwise, you know, you're just too far off angle, it won't work. Late in the afternoon sometime, one of our magazines went off. And that's when I really thought, you know, there's no ship can stand that. You know, it's got to sink. And I think everybody else on the ship thought the same thing. That's why I say, well, the condition the ship was in, 1/3 stayed on the battle stations. We had been on battle stations for maybe 24 hours before that. And we'd had, you know, a lot of them coming out. But we had a combat air patrol up all the time, 4 planes from each carrier, 16 fighters up all the time. And they had shot all of them down. Well, some of them did make a run, but they missed. They didn't hit anything. And I understand this kid was 19 years old, was flying the plane now. But he dropped 2 500 armored Pearson bombs on us. One of them went through the captain's mess hall and exploded on the hangar deck. and the other one went through the flight deck, the hangar deck, and exploded, I think, on the third deck, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But I believe that's what happened. And then, of course, after he did that, well, all hell broke loose. We had all these planes with rockets, tiny Tim rockets, and well, all the 50 caliber machine guns that went in, 6 machine guns they had in the wings, and bombs of all sorts, and torpedoes. They were all loaded with gasoline, probably 450 gallons, something like that. And everything burnt and blew up. I got out, but a guy helped me out. He's dead now. His name was Earl Graves. And he sort of helped me out of there. When I got out of there, actually I couldn't, it was, no lights, and communication, the headphones was dead. And I didn't know, with a list like that, I didn't know what was going on really. But I couldn't find, you need a little piece of pipe out like that, a dog that hatch, and I couldn't find it in the dark. Well, he knew where I was because I had to go through his compartment, which entered gas. I had to go through his compartment to get out of there. Well, he finally helped me get out, and they hit me with that fire hose, and it made me sick, and cold. I was wringing wet from one end to the other, and it was about 45 degrees out there, and the wind was blowing, and I was cold. Up on the forecastle where I was, trying to get a line over from the Pittsburgh back to us to get towed out of there, Santa Fe maybe it was, one or the other. And this one guy looked at me and he said, "Man, you freezing." I said, "Yeah, I know that." Well, he said, "Don't go anywhere, sit right here. I'll be right back." So he goes, and he's gone for a while, and he went down the officer's country, and he found a jacket, pulled all the bars off, and gave me that jacket. Well, I won't never forget that.